So the thing about Wuthering Waves is that it's actually kind of hard. And in this first month, as all these new players are coming in, particularly mobile gamers, and also, no shade meant here, I think people who play easier games, like maybe Genshin Impact, don't kill me, because I am one of these Genshin players that's not so great at Wuthering Waves because I'm so used to the simplistic rotations of Genshin. And when we come to this game, we might fall prey to a few things. And let me show you something that I think a lot of new gamers are falling prey to, and that is this lady right here. You know, they log in, they see a couple toes hanging out, they've seen some showcases on YouTube of her and Calcharo just popping off, and they're like, I need to play this comp. This is the meta comp. I need to play it. And if that's what you really want to do, I think you should do it because, I mean, this is a gacha game and we're pulling on these waifus to watch them fight big monsters. So it's like, who cares? But I'm here to tell you that although this fine lady is very enticing, she might not be the best option for you if you're struggling a little bit with learning the combat in this game. And I know that's hard to admit for some people, but if you are, there are some better options here. Another suggestion that I see get thrown around a lot is just playing Jian, because he's probably the easiest character in the game and gets you some of the best results. He is a lot more like a Genshin character, where you're just gonna buff him up and then you're just gonna use your ult and just hold down your mouse button or your attack button if you're on mobile. And for that reason, I'm gonna say that Jian is probably not your best choice because you might even build some bad habits using him. It's just going to enable you to just kind of face roll the content, and then if you try to transition to other characters, you're not going to like gain any skills from playing Jian that will transfer over to some of the harder characters. And that is where this little bundle of joy comes in, because I'm going to tell you guys, I think that Encore is the perfect hybrid of like a character you can just kind of face roll with and still have okay results if you just kind of play her like you would a Genshin team, while also being able to let you to kind of slowly introduce these Wuthering Wave skills that you're going to need and that will transfer over if you want to play other harder characters like the Yinlan and Calcharo team. So before I continue with my Encore spiel, I want to give you a rundown of the two types of team comps that most people are running right now within Wuthering Waves, if you haven't heard of them. And the first is the Hyper Carry comp, and that is, I'm showcasing it here with Verena, who is going to attack. She's going to pop all her cooldowns, pop her ults, and then when I get my gauge filled up, I can outro, and she's going to give the whole team an attack buff. Then I'll use more Teffy, I'll blow all his cooldowns until I can switch out of him. When he outro skills, I'll switch to Jian. Morteffi's going to give him that heavy attack damage buff, and then Jian's going to pop his ult, and I'm just going to hold that basic attack down. What we're doing is we're just blowing all our load into Jian and just making him do as much damage as possible. There's no like cheeky little switches here and there. There's no like blowing a cooldown, switching back. It's just very straightforward. 1, 2, 3. Very similar to what you'd see in Genshin. Like you pop your Xingqiu ults, you maybe skill with them, you swirl it with Kazuha, you pop Bennett ults, and then you press Raiden's ult and you just basic attack, basic attack, basic attack. It's pretty straightforward, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you enjoy that, I enjoy it too. But like I said, if you want to improve your skills to get better at some of the other teams in this game, practicing just this team is not going to help you so much. So here I want you guys to take a look at like what peak Calcharo and Yinlin team looks like. And this is what we call the quick swap comp, which instead of just going like 3, 2, 1 with all your outro skills, it's kind of how they do it is when you blow a cooldown, such as like your skill, your echo, or in Calcharo's case is heavy attack, which has a really long animation. Because they have long animations, you're going to quickly swap, even without your outro skill, to another character real quick, blow a cooldown on them, and then swap back to your other character. And you know, you can do this with most of the characters. Wuthering Waves is really cool because most of the characters have that designed into them, but Calcharo is like hyper with that. Within one of his ult rotations, you want to get like 3 of his heavy attacks off, and so there's just a ton of quick swapping and swap canceling here. You can kind of see it in this video. Like you can't even really tell when he's switching because he's switching so much. But as you can see, he pops ult, and even while Calcharo is in ult, you're still going to want to be swapping to cancel out that heavy attack animation. It's just going to give you, like, if you've never done this before, this is impossible. This is why I'm showing you a video, because I'm so bad at it that I didn't want to be like talking about it while trying to do it. So it's just tough. It's really cool once you get it down, but it's just tough. So if you practice Gion, that's not going to help you get to this spot right here. And that's why I want to introduce you to my girl Encore. So the reason that I think that Encore is so good and such a good option for new players compared to those other two meta teams is that you can definitely play Encore as like that hyper carry comp. This is her main team right now is Farina, which obviously does the attack buff. Then you have Sanwa, who when you outro will buff normal attacks, which Encore likes to do a lot. And then, you know, Encore can just pop her ult just like Gion does and just kind of, you know, play her like a hyper carry. But what I like about her is not only can you do that, but she has a lot easier skills to identify when you can quick swap and when you can just play her. And you can kind of ease into that quick swap play style rather than being forced to do it to play optimally. Obviously, the best way to play Encore is going to be when you can get those quick swaps down, but it's going to be a lot less punishing to practice on Encore than it is Calcharo, who is, one, has a lot of quick swaps, and two, becomes very vulnerable. Like, if you don't swap when you do Calcharo's heavy attack, you're probably going to get hit a lot and lose damage because you're going to accidentally like dodge cancel a lot of your moves. Whereas Encore, she's going to be the perfect practice material for kind of working your way up to the quick swap comps. So just to give you guys some context here to further explain what I mean, I'll show you just the regular hyper carry rotation with this team. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this monkey here. I'm going to press my echo. I'm going to press my ult. I could skill if I want to. Maybe I'll skill. I'm going to switch to Sanwa. I'm going to pop her ult. I'm going to press her skill. I'm going to pop all this. You know, then I'm going to echo, cancel out. I guess a small little cancel there. Then I ult on Encore, and I'm just gonna go. Who cares? Who cares? She's popping off. I don't care what's happening. I'm just gonna spam my basic attack. Nothing wrong with this. And see, it's still pretty viable. Obviously, you know, she's leveled high, and this is just like an overworld boss, but it's still viable. This is gonna get you places, and that's okay if you want to play like that. But let me show you how you can practice a little bit on Encore to start gaining those skills that will help transfer over to other characters. So this is in no way meant to be like a full comprehensive Encore guide, but let me just show you some of the things that you can quick swap on her just to start getting you in that mindset of like, oh, this is a long animation, I should probably swap to a different character for this. The first and probably most obvious on Encore is her skill, because it locks you in the same place for 3 seconds. You can't move, and so that is something you should always try to swap on. Let me show you. So I'm going to do this, I'm going to swap, and she's still, you can see all those orange numbers. Encore was still attacking while this was happening. And I can quickly switch back to Encore. Ideally with Encore, when you do her skill, there's going to be this white circle that pops up at the end. And let me show you if this barrel live. No, it won't. Okay, back to this white circle. Let me show you what happens. So at the end, you see this white circle, and if I press it, you're going to do a nuke at the end. And if you quick swap fast enough, you're going to be able to swap out of her, let her do the animation while you're playing with Sanwa, then swap back and hit the basic attack right on time to get that nuke off. So let me try to do it one more time. There, I got it. So, you know, it takes really precise timing, but even if you don't get that final nuke off, it's still worth when she's locked in that animation to switch to another character. The other big quick swap tech that you can start practicing right now with Encore revolves around her Forte circuit, and that is that bar down there. Once it fills up, she's like most other characters where you press the heavy attack and she's going to do like a big nuke, but before she does the nuke, she wobbles around for about like 3 or 4 seconds. So that's another prime time, and this is, you know, the type of information you want to think about. Is this animation gonna take forever? I could be doing more damage, so I should switch. So let me just kind of show you here. I have my full gauge, so I'm just gonna pop it right away, right? I pop it, I'm switching to Sanwa. I don't care I don't have outro skill. I'm gonna do more damage, right? So I do this, and then I just switch right back to her. Even if I don't have outro skill, I could be doing more damage right there. So you switch out anyways, and that's the kind of mindset that you want to be thinking about. So like I said, this isn't meant to be a whole Encore guide. I'll tell you just quickly, there's a couple more quick swaps you can do, like with Inferno Rider. There's a swap you can do with that. There's another cancel that you can do on her ult, but you know, those aren't things you need to practice right away. I just wanted to show you guys those two main big ones because I think just because they're so long, I think they're gonna be a good like entry level type of quick swap that you can do to kind of get your mind, once again, get you in this mind state and get you thinking about when should I quick swap. And with Encore, it's very obvious, which is why I think she's going to be a great starter character compared to like the Calcharos or one that will enforce bad habits in you like Gian, where you don't have to do any quick swaps. I totally get that for some people. They play a lot of these action-oriented games and they're just gonna hop in and they'll be able to play Calcharo pretty well after just like a couple hours of practice. But I just wanted to make this video just in case anyone is kind of feeling like me. They're like not so great at the game and they're trying to practice to improve their skills. They need a little bit more time. I just wanted to make this video to show you guys that like Encore is a pretty good character to do that on, and she's also just a ton of fun. And like I said, if you don't want to do that, you can also play her as a hyper carry and just do some cheeky little quick swaps here and there, like every time you skill or every time that you do her forte circuit. I just think she's a super good option. But let me know what you guys think. Are there any other characters that can kind of help you get better at quick swapping? I'm not sure of any quite yet. I think Sanwa's pretty good, but if you have any opinions, please let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you watching. Let me know your thoughts. Subscribe for more, and we'll see you in the next one.